are live.
Hey, guys, what's going on? Back at you with another Seahawks video. This time with a special guest, the Hawks.
What's up, Jose?
What's up? What's up, Trent?
Board? Going to be aboard on the Rodriguez train here.
Thank you. Thank you for being my guest as we break down the schedule.
Absolutely.
Now, for the people watching, we're recording this about 10 minutes before the actual schedule comes out. We are just guesstimating what week we are going to play which team. There have been Twitter leaks a lot today. So we're going off Twitter leaks and assumptions.
Jose's been sleuthing. You've been sleuthing, Jose. You've been doing your deep investigatory skills on this one.
Not just me, but other Seahawks YouTubers and just Seahawks Twitter in general. Gotta keep up with Seahawks Twitter.
You got to do it. You got to do it. You stay informed if you don't.
Yeah. So, Brandon, please, or Brandon, I should say, please introduce yourself to my subscribers if they don't know you, and if they don't know you, they should. So go ahead and introduce yourself.
Well, thank you, Jose. Well, my name is Brandon. I'm part of the Run the Hawks Nest YouTube channel over there. We're part of this umbrella of YouTubers here on Seahawks. I consider us all kind of part of a family a little bit there, but I've been doing I do a couple of different videos. We do a lot of live streams over there and great Seahawk moment videos and whatnot, but I've been doing it for a couple of years over there. It's doing pretty well. And Jose is one of my people over there. And so I want to be over here too with you because we got to all kind of share our support. And like I said, I feel like we're all part of the same kind of thing. We're like, it's like a channel in itself being created within the YouTube spectrum of things for people to go down their various, content and whatnot. And, so I think it's awesome just the way that this has continued to grow on YouTube as far as this goes. Back in the day, you had nobody, and now you got at least we're getting a good breadth of people with different opinions and perspectives, which I think is awesome.
Exactly. I 100% agree with you. So with that being said, let's get into it.
Let's do it.
Our schedule. Brandon, you have it in front of you. Let's go down it.
Let's do it. Let's do it. One thing I wanted to ask you about, Jose, that jumped out at me at this schedule, and this was prior to, of course, the release or the sub release today. We've gotten the information, but as we just looked at, and I was going to go one by one, what threw me off about the schedule most was when I looked at the home schedule. It's pretty easy overall, right? When you go through the names of Lions, Jaguars, Titans, Saints with no Drew Brees, the Chicago Bears, just in general, first blush at this schedule, the home schedule is very winnable, isn't it? Did you feel like that too?
We should really go undefeated at home, not counting divisional games, of course, because divisional games are always hard and always a dark fight, especially with the teams in our division. But the Cardinals really don't scare me that much.
No, me neither.
Neither do the Niners, because they have no secondary at all. And the only thing that gives me hesitancy is the Rams. And all honesty, especially because of what they did to us to end our season last year.
Yeah, I agree with you. They to me remain as the nemesis. Like, I think the 49ers are our biggest rivals, but the Rams are the biggest pain to us. as far as just that thorn in our side. There was that moment, one of my subs was talking on the chat at one point that he had seen on the telecast when right at the end of the second game there in the playoffs where McVay pointed to Coach Carroll's head, like, I'm up in your head on the, as they were like doing their end of the game handshake thing. And he looked at him and he said, I'm up here on you. And I don't know if he was doing that, but McVay seems like the type that would be willing to do that. And I just wonder, I hope he's not in Carroll's head. I really do hope it's not that way. But God, they have been our just.
Well, if he did do that, I can tell you from knowing Coach Carroll that he took that personally. So
yeah, you should, right? Like, that's out of line as a coach.
Now if he did do that, he messed with the ball, and next year you will definitely get the horn.
Both barrels, right?
Horns, yeah.
Just go ask Harbaugh. See how
Yeah.
trying to bully Carroll worked out for him.
Exactly.
He can't get out of Michigan.
Well, they can't kick him out of.
Oh, exactly.
There's more like
half the Michigan fan base is stuck with him, where they're like, "Can we move on from him?
Can we please get him out of here?"
He's gonna worn thin here. Well, I guess let's we'll start out here, I guess, with the first game out the gate. Let's get your thoughts. Man, we got a tough one, and the NFL's doing us dirty again here, Jose. They started us dirty out the gate. You know me with these 10 a.m. start times, which Carroll started to solve these. He has started to solve these things recently, but we get 10 a.m. the Indianapolis Colts to start the year. What are you thinking on that? Where are you at on that? Is that a dub? Is that an L?
Well, to go off what you just said, when the LOB were young and Russell Wilson was a rookie, 10 a.m. games were terrible. But since Russell Wilson has matured, and that defense has matured, and to an extent, Coach Carroll as a coach has matured, 10 a.m. start times aren't really a problem for us anymore. So I'm not really worried about that. I'm more worried about injuries in the preseason, which, knock on wood, don't happen. And if that doesn't happen, we should get an easy win in Indianapolis, in my opinion.
I honestly tend to agree with you on this. The nice thing about this 10 a.m. start time, I always get annoyed by them just because they stack so many of them up with us as opposed to other West Coast teams. So it's one of those, like, you know, whether I'm imagining or not, it just feels like they do us a little bit wrong every year with like.
No, you're not imagining.
I hate it.
No, you're not imagining it.
The thing that stood out to me when looking a little bit at the research, I was trying to look a little bit at the teams today, you know, what people had added, what people hadn't at this offseason. And this jumped out to me with the Colts and remains out with me. I believe that they have something like still $40 to $45 million of cap money to spend right now. They've been inactive this offseason, completely in free agency, a team that needs a couple more pieces, in my opinion, to finally get themselves to the right place, to be ready to push forward as one of these teams to challenge in the AFC and truly challenge, not just kind of sneak into the playoffs and be one of those all, you know, one and done type, you know, teams, but actually great. You look at them, they've not really added anybody this offseason. They've re-signed a couple guys, Marlon Mack, Xavier Rhodes, T.Y. Hilton, etc. You look at their draft, Kwity Paye was a good defensive end in this draft, but he's a good run-stuffing defensive end who's going to take some time to develop as a pass rusher. The Obadeo kid guy that they got in the second round tore his Achilles. He's not going to be ready to go day one, you know, burst out the gate type thing. And you look through the rest of their draft, it's kind of meh. So nothing there, man. They didn't add anything this offseason. They didn't get anything free agent-wise, nothing draft. And, you know, you didn't sign anybody, and you're going, okay, Carson Wentz for Rivers, which I guess in some respects is better, but in some respects could be worse because he's going to be more wilder at the stick than Rivers was. You know, I say it's a win as well. I'm with you on this one. I think we win this comfortably, even with that 10 a.m. moaning and complaining that I was doing. I still think it's a dub.
And in all honesty, last night I got into a heated argument with a friend over if we would beat the Colts this season, and without knowing it was going to be our week 1 game, we made a $20 bet on it. and I wake up and see it's the first game of the season. So either the Seahawks are gonna win me $20 or cost me $20. So I'm going to say they are going to win me $20 because I'm not afraid of Carson Wentz. I'm not afraid of the lack of pass rush. Yeah, they have no other cornerback on the other side of Xavier Road.
It's a good point.
Which means Tyler Lockett is going to have a field day.
Yeah.
I like the Seahawks in a blowout.
I think I'm with you on that. I think I'd echo you. If I'd go at least a 10-point win in this to open the season. If they had done more of what we did this offseason, which is stack as many contracts as they could and actually top out a team with already a good base talent, but you start to just, that's what you do in free agency is theoretically round things out. And as opposed to doing that, they didn't do anything in free agency. And then the draft, their main thing is to just hit as hard as they can the defensive end position, which they essentially take a step back from theoretically by losing Justin Houston there. So where is the step forward they take? You know, where is it that they got actually better here to make me fear them, to think that I know they were a good team last year, but I'm talking about, I think we're a better team than we were last year. Are the Colts right now? No way. No.
Where did Justin Houston go to anyway?
Still out there, man. It's one of the, remember I was talking about there's all those free agents that were pass rushers that would remain out of the market throughout this offseason because there's too many of them. The guys aren't going to get their value. They're all getting undercut on their pricing and they're like, man, I don't want to sign for this right now. I'll wait. Maybe somebody will get desperate in training camp due to an injury and then they'll fall back on that and hope, you know, but they're not getting paid. There's too many of them and there's nobody got any money to spend right now. Everybody's up against that cap.
Much like what happened to KJ Wright.
Bingo. Same kind of situation. KJ's production in a normal year where the cap's increasing by 10% every year, he's going to get the 2-year, $15 million deal that he's wanting with $8 million guaranteed or something. But right now that deal's not out there because Seattle's not competing against anybody. They're competing against themselves. The Cowboys were the one option, but how many linebackers did they draft in this last draft? Like 20?
Enough to remake Brokeback Mountain.
That's right. Exactly. They could have a Brokeback as an ensemble piece, if you know what I'm saying, with the amount of linebackers they brought in there. So I don't know what Dallas is doing. And they're going to a 3-4, I've heard. And I don't, they're beyond the pale to me, Dallas, with some of those.
But Dan Quinn has never run a 3-4.
I know, but I was listening to the Yvonne Lombardi's got a cool channel over there that he does with that stuff. They have a couple there. I've been hearing that they're pretty solidly saying that they think this is getting moved to a 3-4, a heavy amount of the time.
I blame Jerry Jones.
I do too. Nothing good happens by owners being general managers of their football teams or putting their son in as the general manager when they're eventually done with the process. You know,
please do your Jerry Jones in
all right. So here's my, hey, Steven. Yeah, Dad. Steven, you give me one of these corners. I want J.C. Horner, Patrick Surtain. Daddy, I told you they're going to be taken before we pick. And I want to trade up. Daddy, we don't have many selections as it is, and our team ain't very talented. I don't care. You listen to me, boy. I put you in charge of this train. I can take you off. You get me one of them good cornerbacks. Daddy, I ain't going to get you a corner, but I'm going to get you a linebacker. How about Micah Parsons? I don't want no Micah Parsons linebacker. God damn it, son, give me something good. Daddy, you put me in charge of this for a reason. Remember what you told me about when you get like this? I didn't tell you nothing about when I get like, you said when you get like this, I shouldn't go at you this way and tell you that I'm going to run this and you're going to sit back, go have yourself a cigar, and we'll deal with this later. Damn it, son. Daddy, just go up in the closet now. Don't be in the closet. Get your hands off me. Daddy, you let me run this, please. I have my whole day. I probably spend like a half hour a day of having conversations between Jerry Jones and his son, just fight because it's so ridiculous, right? A guy who's I'm gonna be a general manager of a squad. I'm a good oil man, so I'll be a general manager, and then I'm gonna put my son in charge. And just the ridiculous nature of like, remember when Manziel was coming out and give me Manziel, Daddy, he can't throw the football. Get me Manziel. He can't throw it, Daddy. He's a quarterback. He needs to throw it.
And then they ended up getting Zach Martin turned out to an all center. So that's
well, Stephen. I give him a hard time. Stephen brought it around. Yeah, Stephen actually righted this ship for a while, and he gained a little bit of control. But
then Jerry took it back.
Man, I don't know the Micah pick today. This Micah pick feels like Jerry to me. He's the best defensive player in this draft, son. I'm telling you, if I can't get my cornerback, then you're going to get me the best defensive player in this draft. You know, that I see him doing something like that with his logic and reasoning, you know, and the way he looks at valuing players. And Daddy's not the best.
But the reason I say that is because of the CD lamb pick last year.
What'd you say?
The CD lamb pick last draft that didn't make much or any sense to me after they brought back Amari Cooper and they already had who else did they have? They had
you're thinking of no, I know you're talking about. Oh my gosh, Michael Gallup.
Yeah, that's Michael Gallup, Amari Cooper.
And they signed a tight end to big money the previous year.
Right, and
I mean, just I thought to myself, Jerry, you do know there's only one footballer to go around. He fell in love with Pitts. You heard the rumor on that too, right?
Yeah.
If Pitts would have fallen, they would have taken it.
I was there for that impersonation too. So
I can't believe it, man. He's off it. But God bless him. Good luck, Cowboys. Right, so we got week 2. We're back. We're going back to home now. We're coming back home week 2. It's the home opener, not coming back home. It's the home opener. Tennessee Titans.
Well, the last time we played the Titans was back in 2016, where hell was breaking loose because a old man, yellow hair, name I will not mention.
I remember that game. That was a tough game, man. We were in it up until that thing, but yeah, I think it was DeMarco Murray was still running. You had the young Henry. I don't think Henry was there quite yet.
Yes, he was.
Was he there?
He was, yeah.
They had him as like the number 2 back, and it wasn't DeMarco Murray and him kind of 1-2 punching us.
Yes, and then Richard Sherman took a cheap shot on Marcus Mariota.
That's right.
On the sideline.
Taylor Lewan took offense.
As he should have.
Yeah, you got to back up your quarterback, man. You got to step up and get in those guys' faces. We saw the Redskins last year on that hit to Dalton where he got the face, or the Cowboys where he got crushed and nobody stood up for him, and that was such a bad look.
Well, the time he done.
I know. They're like, it's a backup. Who really cares? If he goes out, we'll get another one.
We're not winning.
Not winning.
We're not winning. Who cares?
It's gonna be fine. It's not gonna change anything.
We're not making the playoffs.
Exactly. They're already thinking about their vacation while he's just way late on the ground. The guy's just punching him. So Cabo this year? Cabo? Yeah. Well, so who do you got? We feel good about home. Hopefully we got fans. We don't know on that. It's Washington. They're going to be seemingly pretty strict here. As you heard today, I think that Philadelphia is going to have a full allotment of their fans for their schedule, which hurts. I'm a little jelly about that. But Titans have lost a few pieces this offseason. Of course, Clowney, who didn't do a lot for them. They lose him. They've lost, I think, a linebacker, a couple cornerbacks. Malcolm Butler, Adoree Jackson. That's a decent loss. They lost their right tackle in addition to losing their first-round pick from a year ago because Isaiah Wilson's gone right now out of the league in general. So they're down a tackle. they had a pretty good draft, I think. Let me bring up just quickly their draft here. But it was a little bit of kind of obviously dealing with the losses more than it was really operating from a standpoint of, like I was talking about our Seattle team, where you feel like you're actually building on a team. It feels like, well, you're now kind of selecting guys that you're sort of picking in for what you lost. So to my point on this, Caleb Farley, a good cornerback in this draft, fell because he had the back surgery. That's to fill in. That's to fill in for Butler, and then Dylan
and the
Radins.
ACL tear.
Yep, and the ACL. Oh, he had that too. Wow, yeah. So he's got a couple things, and then you got Dylan Radins as your second round pick, and I like both those picks. For Radins is to take over for the right tackle who you let go in free agency now, and so it starts to become a little bit of like, are you sort of doggy paddling in place at that point because you've not really added a lot in free agency? I mean, I think Bud Dupree coming off the ACL tear doesn't scare me as a pass rusher really. They lost. They haven't done. I think there's one other pass rusher. Danico Autry from the Colts that they added. He's okay, but he's a lesser Kerry Hyder. It's like he's like a poor man's Kerry Hyder is like what Danico Autry is to me. So I'm not scared by that. And we're going to stop the run. We're going to key up on Henry. We're going to make Tannehill beat us. You beat us, Tannehill. We're not going to let Henry do it. No way Carroll allows that. Let him run for 200 yards. Huh?
Well, the thing that scares me is the last time I was in Seattle, we played the Saints without Drew Brees. We knew they were going to give the ball to Kamara, and we let him run for something close to 200 yards. And you're saying we're going to stop Derrick Henry, Brian Tannehill beat us. And the last time we played Ryan Tannehill, he was a drop touchdown from beating us. So a little more nervous about this one than you are.
Well, let me sell you on it, because when we go back to a couple of those things. First off, the Ravens playing against us at that time, and that Ravens offensive line is as good as this Titans line is. It's an upper level line. That Ravens line was legitimately great across the board. You had Zeus, who just got traded for a first round pick at right tackle. Ronnie Staley, who's a top 10 pick in this league. Marshall Yanda, who has since retired from the Ravens. That's just their top 3 end guys. They had top 5 guys down the line that were good. It was a rainy, wet day there. The thing that you'll notice, this is one of my work. You know me, I love me with some theories. I've got a working theory right now about our players playing within the rain in Seattle and issues with the cleats. And it goes back to getting injured, where the necessary cleat to play within the rain puts you at a higher injury risk, specifically with your foot getting stuck in that type of turf there at Lumen Field. And so they go to the shorter one. So if you watch Carson, a lot of times you'll watch him slipping and sliding around there when it's wet. Watch this next year, okay? You'll see him at times when it's wet, slipping and sliding. And the rest of this true for it, because for our guys, the word's gotten out when they play in that stadium. The opposition doesn't have that word out. So they come into those wet conditions and actually have bigger cleats, the appropriate cleats, but more of the ACL risk than necessarily our players believed I think they're getting. I don't have any other explanation for it, because it should never make any sense why your own players are slipping within their own field that they're used to playing on the natural surface they're used to playing on. As well as they had Lamar Jackson, who is Tannehill's mobile, but he ate Lamar Jackson. And that Lamar Jackson element is the thing that we've seen at times in Coach Carroll's defenses go to the Kaepernick playoff game in the NFC Conference Championship. You use your quarterback like a running back, you can hurt us a little bit as far as you're offensively speaking. And Tannehill, as mobile as he is, he's not in that realm of where Lamar is as far as twitchiness or, ability out there in the open field. So that's what gives me the thing. And then they're not going to pass rush against us. They're not going to be able to do anything.
I hate to cut you off, but I now have the whole schedule in front of me, and we have 6 primetime games this season.
Yes.
6. Wow.
That's awesome.
That's got to be a record.
That does. I thought you could only have 5 usually. Well, no, this is what it is. They're right. It is. You're on it, Jose. This is a record because what they've done is they've allowed, I'm guessing, for one more extra. We're supposed to be allowed 5 in recent history, but they're allowing for the one extra because of the fact you have the 18th game. The extra week of the season this year, I'm guessing, is what's going to allow them to put another game on primetime. That's beautiful, though.
So in these games, I think it's safe to guess we're gonna go 6-0 because we are always ready to go for a primetime game. Am I wrong?
Yeah, I'm looking it up right now. Coach Carroll's primetime record. You're absolutely 100% right. He's at, I want to say like a 70. Here it is. He's 14-2 in primetime games in the Coach Carroll era.
I don't even know where you get these.
Well, it's good. I'm just
numbers.
Googling, so it's probably, yeah, I don't even know if that's right. That's just the first number that came up.
Yeah.
Oh, here's one. Well, here's an article from 2019. So this is probably a little more current. He's 26-5-1 in primetime games. So that's
Can you repeat that?
26-5-1 tie.
Of course, the tie against
The Cardinals.
Arizona. God,
Yeah.
I hate that team.
Oh, that game was horrible. That was such a horrible game to watch. 6-6 tie through the whole game. Just nobody doing anything, and you're just, the game's right there. Take it. Take the game.
We almost did it again last season.
I know. This team is incapable of just playing traditional games. They've got to keep us on the edge of our seat, or for a guy that's old like me, they got to put me in a heart attack like state, or it's not a normal Seahawks game.
And for a guy like me, who's already disabled, they're gonna put me in the hospital like that again.
Seriously, like, come on, just give me a couple of nice, easy ones through the year. I don't need them all to be easy, but just give me a couple that I don't have to just sit there and go, Mom, the arm's going straight. The arm's going straight. Oh. It's getting tight.
Mom, I see the light.
911. Start learning sign language. I can't.
Yeah.
Try to sign her.
Yeah.
All right, so you're feeling a little on the fence on the Titans game. We're kind of on that thing.
I feel a lot.
But it is at home. It is at home. That's the one nice part about it.
I know, but I just feel like Tennessee is really, really strong, and I could be sucked either way into it.
Totally.
So I'll just say a win, just to be a homer.
I love it. Come with me to Homerland. All right, so we got week 3 is where I think our first real tough matchup for
the Vikings.
Yeah, the Vikings. They've had a good offseason.
Wait, you think this is gonna be a tough game?
I think it's gonna be a tough game.
I think week 2 is gonna be tougher than this.
See, I know the Vikings are kind of like the team that doesn't get a lot of pub, and that like but they've quietly over the last couple of years have put together good off seasons. If you look at the draft, they went to a place that was a strength for them, which was an offensive line. So like last year against the Packers in Green Bay, they absolutely just ran the ball down their throat at one point at will, and they did that a couple of times last year.
Did it to us?
Huh?
They did it to us.
They did to us too. Yeah, good point. Us as well. And so now they did that. If you look at their draft, they added more linemen out of this draft. They didn't lose a lot of people out of this in the free agent period. They added, I think, another wide receiver out there. They're stacked up, I think, to be really good. And I'm not a big guy on Cousins, but he's a guy who's continued to put up good season after good season after good season, at least statistically speaking, with the Vikings since he landed there. And now he's going to have maybe the most talented team offensively that he's had since he's been there. You look at defensively, they've gotten a little bit older, but again, I like the additions that they've made. I'm trying to bring up their draft because I want to reference that because I liked it so much. And I think they got guys who can play immediately too.
Who got the cornerback out of Northwestern?
Greg Newsome.
Yeah, where did he end up? I can't remember.
The Browns. Got him. That's how they killed that draft. But no, so they.
That's right.
So they did take Kellen Mond with the second round pick, but the Chad Surratt out of North Carolina, great outside linebacker for them. Christian Darrisaw outside, again, offensive tackle. Wyatt Davis, guard out of Ohio State. Patrick Jones, defensive end out of Pittsburgh. Like all those are kind of home run hits as far as picks go. Like those are all.
I really like Patrick Jones.
Yeah. So if we took our the metric I basically operated with these teams is, okay, I think we've gotten a marginally better, at least if not above that this offseason, but what have those teams done? And I look at the Vikings, if we're looking versus the Colts or the Titans, not lost a lot, but then they've added on quite a bit. And there's reason to believe they're going to get development from young guys they've drafted recently that are good. Your Jeff Gladney types from last year, or Dantzler that they got out of Mississippi State, 2 really good corners last year who should come along and take another step forward for them. So it's really much about what they've done recently, and they're pushing. And that's why I don't like the Titans, because Titans with their recent push, I feel like they topped out a couple of years ago as a team, and now they're sort of kind of now starting to, like the Avengers movie where they start to dust off, fingers are dusting. But go ahead. Sorry.
Will they be ready by week 3? I don't see it happening.
It could not. They're not going to be the toughest opponent. I will say that they're not our toughest.
So I'm giving us the win.
Then I'm with you. If you go in W, I'm riding with you on that. I'm riding with you on that.
So I have us realistically 2-1. You have us 3-0.
I got us 3-0 right now. Heading to the Rams.
No, now it's the Niners week 4.
I got us Niners at week 5, and then Rams week 4.
I'm not looking at the schedule now.
Oh, is it?
It's Niners.
Okay.
Week 4 Rams. Week 5 Raleigh. Short week Thursday night football.
Okay, so we're on a short week with the Niners. So all right, so I like that. I like playing the Niners first. I don't give us a little time to get ready for the Rams. Let us get right.
The short week is against the Rams.
Oh, it's after so that's week 5 is Thursday.
Yes. Against the Rams in Seattle.
Well, at least it's at home. So that makes the Thursday night easier. I hate those games on Thursday night. I think it's hard on those players.
Exactly. The players hate it, which is why I'm even confused why they even do it. But it's whatever. We just have to get through it once, thankfully.
So according to what I'm looking on my list, am I right on this? These next 2 games are home games?
No, week 4 is in Santa Clara. Week 5 is in Seattle.
Okay.
From what I'm looking at.
So where are you at on the 49ers this offseason? I'm going to put this as a win. Again, I'm going 4-0.
Yeah, I agree. I absolutely agree. They traded out the draft day backup quarterback. What were they thinking? What were they thinking?
I don't think it was a move for this year. I think it was a move for the long term. I think both the general manager and head coach feel pretty solid in their jobs there. And so they went, okay, we're going to go for the talent at quarterback. Well, we know it won't be probably developed until minimum next year. And that means this year we have to kind of punt on this year a little bit. I think that they may not even admit it. They'll never admit it anywhere publicly, right? You're not going to ever lead with that. But I can't think of anything else other than that, because you look at them free agent wise. Ecubon out of the Rams. They grabbed, I think, a corner or safety from the Colts. That's okay, but not a lot there. Alex Mack, as far as from the Cardinals or from the Falcons at center, is old as hell. And here's a theory I wanted to bring up with Niners, that watch this play out this way. Pass protection, and specifically inside. Alex Mack over the last couple of years, and especially as far as Pro Football Focus has nailed on this, he's still done really good as a run blocker. Absolute turnstile as a pass blocker. They drafted the Brooks kid out of Notre Dame, the left guard. I watched a lot of tape on Notre Dame because they had 3 offensive linemen going into this draft, Hainsey, Brooks, and Eichenberg. He can't move. He can't move, and not move like 40, like, oh, well, when's the lineman moving 40? No, short area. He can't move. They're gonna get waylaid up front on the inside that line as far as pass rush goes, especially if you bring blitz heavy type looks and those things. Niners aren't a problem for me. I'm not scared of them in the least, man. Not scared of them in the least. That's going to be, watch that be their Achilles heel, that inside of that offensive line and pass protection. Because McGlinchey
Right.
over on the right side, Trent Williams is the real deal, no doubt about it. But the inside,
McGlinchey is a turnstile.
I think so too. He looks like a guy that weighs about 285 pounds to me playing right tackle.
I follow a guy who covered the 49ers, and hey, Mike McGlinchey with a passion,
Yeah.
almost as much as he hates Jimmy G. So yeah, Grant Cole is his name. Look him up.
Oh, I know Grant. Yeah, I know Grant. I can understand why McGlinchey makes him mad too, because Shanahan loves those mobile, going back to his dad, loves the mobile offensive linemen, the guys that can move, but they're not very big and they can't do what linemen do. They can't block guys.
There's no such thing as a mobile lineman anymore. They're not taught to be mobile.
No.
They're taught to block one thing.
Well, and that's when you reach for one like that, who is a little bit more mobile than the others, then you're giving away all this other stuff that he needs to do that's traditionally what you need from the offensive lineman, i.e. drive a man off the ball or stay down anchored in front of a guy in pass protection. And those are the two things to me when I watch him, I'm like, you guys gave a first round pick for this? You gave a top 15 pick for this? Yeah.
And then Trey Lance is a big question. Why can Kyle Shanahan coach a quarterback? I don't think so. I think he can scheme open players, but I don't think he's Sean McVay or even Shane Waldron for that matter. So
He's gotten a little bit of that reputation without it maybe being earned, to your point. I mean, yes, Cousins is a success, but it's not like his dad fostered a lot of quarterbacks there. Not like he, he got Matt Ryan's best year out of his career, but Matt Ryan was a good quarterback throughout his career as well. It wasn't like Matt's been a bad QB in this league. So I'm with you. I think it's going to be the jury's out. The kid averaged 18 passes. He pretty much opted out all through last year, or they didn't play their games, or whatever you want to call it. He averaged 18 passes a year, and how's that going to fit coming to the NFL? It's part of why I think the experts are right when they say it's going to take him a year minimum to kind of be ready to get out there on the field and go. It's not going to be right from the jump, And so Jimmy G, we own Jimmy G. Seahawks love Jimmy G. They lick their chops at Jimmy G. It's beautiful.
We are in short away from being undefeated against Jimmy G. So
it's true.
I give us a win here.
Jacob Hollister just was an inch taller, man. He's just an inch taller.
Or an inch. Let me not go there.
20 pounds heavier, one of the two.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm 4-0 through week 4. You're 3-1.
Yeah, I'm 3-1.
We got Rams Thursday night.
On a short week. Thursday night for grudge game. Grudge match. Street fight with a new quarterback that you are very, very high on. And I am not.
Mm-hmm.
So I give us a win. How about you?
I do think we're splitting our matchup with the Rams this year, where it'll go 1-1. But that being playing at home, being that it's on a shortened week, I got us winning this game as well, because I think that I do think Stafford's going to help them improve. But for me, the big part with me with the Rams comes down to this. Number one, you didn't kill your draft like you needed to. I call him poo-poo Atwell. Tutu Atwell weighed 148 pounds on his pro day. That's not going to work as a wide receiver in the NFL. It just will not. Not. So I go to that. They lost like 5-6 free agent losses, including a great safety, great slot corner, great center, gone. Not really great anything to replace those guys. Game at home early on, we get the win here. We'll lose later on, I think. When we go to the Rams later on, week 13, we lose. But this is a dub for me.
I agree.
All
So
right.
I have a 4-1.
I got something to baby. We're flirting with the Miami Dolphins at 72 here.
And I think we got a 5-1, 5-1 against the Steelers.
You got the Steelers.
It's 10 days off. It's
good point.
Big Ben and his noodle arm.
Very good point.
I said arm, not anything else. Noodle arm.
His invasive noodle arm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat on this one. Steelers don't scare me. They've been much like I look at the Titans. Recent years, they've been going a little backwards as far as the talent influx there. It's been losing talent, not gaining talent over recent years overall. You had a guy like Claypool, but for every Claypool, there's, the guy that did go to the Titans, Bud Dupree, and then they lose a corner like Hilton that I think they lost this offseason. So a couple guys with that line got retired or gone. Yeah, we got them. That offensive line ain't holding up against us. We take them.
Okay, so we agree on that. And let me just double check something here. The next week we go against Crab Legs and another noodle arm, Taysom Hill, and the New Orleans Saints. Now that don't is gonna be crazy, but that offense, not so much without Drew Brees and a good quarterback. So I think the win streak continues and we go to 6-1.
And I've got a 7-0 too.
7-0.
The quarterback that gives us the most problem. Mobile quarterbacks give us a problem if the offenses completely embrace the quarterback running like a running back, which most with a mobile quarterback don't go fully on that route, the Lamar Jackson route. The guys that give us the problem to me are really the guys that are going to just take the dink and dunk, be accurate in the short passing game. So if this was Drew Brees, I'm scared. Taysom Hill, I'm not as scared on that.
And James Winston.
And what? Jameis Winston. I think Taysom keeps his job because I think he's got a love affair with Taysom Hill. I don't know what it is, but he loves him, Taysom Hill, for some reason. And I think if they were going to make the transition to Jameis, they would have made it this offseason. Unless Taysom just completely struggles and just falls on his face. And then if it's Jameis, that's fine for me too, because he's going to throw you 3 interceptions a game. So if he might throw for a good 400 yards on you, but he's going to throw you 3 picks and you'll end up winning the game anyway.
I'm friends with the Saints fan who hates both their quarterbacks and Cassandra, if you watch this, I'm sorry. But not that sorry. I have my Seahawks beating your Saints very badly in New Orleans.
Is this a blowout, Jose? You got them blowing us out?
I have us blowing them out. Yeah.
All right, I'm with it. Hey, I'm jumping on board this. You don't have to talk me into it. You take Breeze away from him. I know his arm strength was dwindling and all that, but I'm not. You take him out. They lost a little. Remember, too, they did lose a couple guys this offseason with their cap. They came in $95 million over the salary cap this offseason. They were losing a few bullets out of that gun. Cameron Jordan's getting older. Let's call it 3 touchdowns. Let's just play this wild. I'm going 3. We win that one by 3 touchdowns. See what your buddy thinks of that.
You never go to Canada. She will find you and probably kill you.
She'll Liam Neeson me?
Yeah.
I'm going to get Liam Neeson?
Yes.
Oh, damn. Okay. Yeah, I might have to take it down to like a 1 touchdown win then at that point.
Yeah. I was thinking like 13 points. You said 3 touchdowns.
I'm lighting fires here. I'm lighting fires and I just ran out of water.
Yes. You do not know her like I do. She is a savage.
Hey, I just got to keep it real, man. I don't know what to say, Jose. I don't know what to tell her. I got to keep it real.
She is a savage.
You lose a Hall of Fame quarterback, your team's going to lose a couple steps. It's going to have a couple hitches in its giddy up. You know what I mean?
She knows, and she knows.
She could be
knows-
angry, but she knows.
She knows she's angry, and I'm not the one to piss her off. So yeah, I know better. I know better. So yeah,
He said you'll keep it at 13 points.
I'll keep it at 13 points.
There you go.
I'm not. I want to get into Canada one day. So
That's true. I don't need a pad. I'm too old. I don't need a passport.
I'm not pissing her off.
I can play it free and easy.
You can say whatever you want.
Barely getting out of the state as I get older. All right, so we got. I'm 7-0. You're 6-1 through week 7,
and then I go to 7-1 because we get Jacksonville at home. A rookie against the 12. Not a good thing for the rookie.
No, he's got to come from the other side of the world. He's coming from the other side of the world. They got to come as geographically as far as they possibly come to come play in the most hostile environment in the NFL as a rookie quarterback in week 8 when they all hit the wall, right? The rookie wall, it's known, week 8.
Urban Meyer might get one of his famous headaches that week.
I think he's going to feel a migraine coming on. He's going to go like, look, I can't strategically win this game, but if I don't even coach it, then no one will technically hit me for losing it. I could see it. I could see it there.
They'll blame Devil. Something.
We're 15% to Shoddy because he's the passing coordinator. So he gets Devil will get 85 and Shoddy will get 15.
We're used to blaming Devil. So yeah. That's all I'll say about Devil.
That's all that needs to be said about Devil.
I had a Facebook page that I titled Fire Devil back in 2015. So I had it up until he got fired. Then I took it down. That's how much I didn't like him.
Yeah, understandable. And sad enough is that they kept 70% of his playbook when they brought in Shoddy. So even though they got rid of him, the ghost of him still semi remained. The specter of his playbook still lingered over Schottenheimer.
Now, can we get rid of the Shoddy playbook? Is the question.
That is the question of the day, man. And that's the one I don't think anybody really truly has an answer on until we actually see the plays. Everybody can make a guess, but nobody knows for sure until, it's that thing like letting Russ cook last year where Carroll could do it for half the year. And then he got a little like, ooh, this is getting a little dodgy. I don't know if I can keep my feet in this fire, and kind of pulled it back. So it's like, well, maybe they start out with Waldron's offense, but then when things get a little tanky, does it go back to 1987 offense, shoddy ball / bevel ball / boring ball?
If I hear the word let Russ cook one time on Twitter, especially from Evan Hill, of all people, I am going to lose my shit. I will lose my mind, especially because it's Evan Hill, a guy that's probably never played football in his life, who thinks he knows better than Coach Carroll.
He definitely has some strong opinions, that's for sure. I don't follow him though, man. Maybe I need to, or he's going to trigger me. He might trigger me.
No, you two might get along, but he triggers the hell out of me. Probably because I know Coach Carroll the way I do.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I have a relationship with him that I do. So yeah,
that's very cool. Well, he seems like an honest. I love me Carroll, man. He's the best coach in our history, and you know me, I try to be nuanced with stuff and get out of that. Oh, it's this guy's fault or all that guy's fault. But you got to show Carroll the respect and that he's the most successful coach in Seahawks history, bar none. And we've had some good coaches, Knox and Holmgren. So it's not like it's just been a nothing. And then he came along and was able to dominate off no field. He's separated himself for sure.
He's not Jim Mora, thank God.
Oh no. No. Thank God. And thank God that was only a 1 year experience, the Mora experience. That guy's another one of those interesting personality types that's just like always running hot.
I wasn't following the Seahawks closely at that time, but can you remind me who made that hire and why?
Yeah. So what that was made to do was you had Mike Holmgren was the general manager when I got to kind of set this up a little bit. Mike Holmgren was the general manager, of course, when he walked in to be the head coach, 98-ish. And what happened was that he went for this big thing of, I'm going to get talent and I'm not going to care about character, which was okay because he got some really talented guys, but these guys love to party too, a little bit off the field. So it was always mixed results when it came to the football field and getting these guys topped out. So what does Seattle do? They transition, or Paul Allen transitions, where he says, okay, I'm getting you out of this, Mike. You can't do this. You're going to just coach now. I'm bringing in my own general manager. Brings in Tim Ruskell, who is the opposite of Mike Holmgren in the respect he's going to go for all character, right? All these guys that are the seniors from big programs. He's not looking talent as much. He's looking at it, but he's looking to the character as the big onus. So he comes in and does that. That's how we get to the Super Bowl season, is those two strategies pair together perfectly for 05 when Ruskell comes in. But now Ruskell wants to get Mike out, right? Because Mike isn't Ruskell's guy. General managers usually hire their head coaches, right? So then he comes in and he says, yeah. So then he comes in, he basically is subtly forcing Mike out. The first second Mike stops not winning as much, here comes Ruskell kind of going, okay, why don't we kind of move on? They bring in Mora the year before to set him up to be the coach and to take over for Mike. So here's our secondary coach for a year, knowing he was going to get the head coaching job the next year after that.
Okay, I just have one question about that.
Mm-hmm.
Had Ruskell never heard of a guy named Michael Vick?
How do you know? I never heard about it. No, he'd heard of him. He definitely had, but he loved him.
What was he thinking?
It's nepotism. Honestly, it's a little bit nepotism, frankly. Who's Jim Mora? Jim Mora is the son of Jim Mora Sr., who was a head coach in the NFL. And what was some of our problems recently with our own Seattle Seahawks team? A guy by the name of Schottenheimer, whose father was a head coach of the Chargers back in the 80s, right?
Exactly.
Like, I hate nepotism. It drives me crazy because it's not fueled by giving the best guy the job. It's fueled by giving I've got this. I know him. I know that. I've known him for 20 years. I've known that son for 5 years. I've known him. Well, what does that have to do with how good you are as a head coach, really, at the end of the day, or what good as a coach in just general? And I think things get a little bit muddled with that in the NFL world. I think it's a very incestuous place. A lot of inbreeding in the NFL with the coaches and how they do that stuff,
Speaking of nepotism, let's go back to the Jaguars for a second.
Let's do it.
So you're telling, so hopefully, if he's still on the team, Bobby Wagner or Jamal Adams can knock Tim Tebow out of the NFL if he's still on the team.
Well,
playing tight end.
Yeah, and we'll honestly see if even Tim Tebow can get to an active state of a game day roster, which I am not. I'm very skeptical he's going to make the active roster outside of Urban Meyer just being that in love with him. You heard, of course, the story recently that Urban's bought a house like 3 doors down from Tim in Florida. Did you hear about that?
No.
I mean, it's getting a little weird. You know what I mean? Like, it's getting a little weird between the two dudes. And we saw him here with the Jets as a tight end. We saw him 3-4 years ago as a tight end with the Jets. He can't catch.
That was 8. That was 9 years ago.
9 years ago. Thank you. Sorry. I'm getting old. Everything runs into 2 or 3 year periods with me at this age.
I was at that game.
Yeah.
I met Tim Tebow on the sideline. He was a very nice guy.
Hey, he's a sweetheart, man. Yeah.
He shook my hand, played with me, but he is not a good football player.
No.
What the hell are we doing?
He's a good college player.
What are we doing in the NFL?
Well,
you brought up nepotism, and I had to bring up Tim Tebow because of that.
Yeah. I think it's absolutely that. He's getting his former college coaches, getting him a job in the NFL. If Urban Meyer, who was a Florida head coach, does not have an NFL job right now. Tim Tebow is not playing in the NFL, but the fact that that's the case, and like I said, seems to love him so much. He's like, those golden years of their national titles down there in Florida, just sitting in his head like, Christmas morning or something for Urban Meyer. And that just drew him back to him for whatever reason. But he's not going to play. And the coaching staff's going to see that he doesn't measure up to the tight ends that are on the roster. And so he'll be inactive, but he'll be a mascot. That's essentially what they brought him in to be. I think it's stupid.
So just put him in the mascot outfit already.
Yeah. Just put a Gator outfit on him and let him sit on the sideline, I guess. I don't know. But I saw enough of him in that Jets film. I remember that game. I remember looking at him specifically because it was the big transition he was making at that time to tight end. If you're going to be a quarterback out of college and become a tight end in the NFL level, you need to do it immediately as you're leaving college. Not 5, 7, 8, 20 years into the NFL, you decide to do it, because you have to do a lot of training and retraining your body and retraining muscles to get to that point. So no, he ain't going to be able to do it. He's been playing baseball the last 3 years. He's going to suck. It's just to the level of how much Urban's going to keep signing off on this stupid crap. And I would hope not for long, because you need those roster spaces are kind of important, especially with the 18th game on the schedule, with the 18th week on the schedule. I don't get it, but he ain't going there. He ain't going to do that. I would be surprised if he catches one pass. I would be absolutely stunned if he catches one ball.
This is messed up, but I saw somebody on Twitter tweet a GIF, and it was of a guy jumping over a gate, and it said, Aaron Hernandez jumping the gates of heaven to get back together with Tim Tebow and Urban Meyer. You can remain speechless on that.
The whole Florida program leaves me speechless with it.
Because I didn't know what to think when I saw that tweet.
I don't either. There's people out there that still love them some Aaron Hernandez. I guess they saw that documentary and they saw something quite different than what I saw from the documentary of him. But I
think I saw something different than what you did as well. But let's move on.
All right.
Now our bye week in the middle of the season.
And for my scale, we're undefeated. We're chilling. You're 7-1. We're 8-0.
And in my schedule, we are 7-1, with the only loss being against the Titans. Week 2, in my opinion.
That's it.
Now let's go to week 10, and that's against the Packers. God help us.
Well, at least it's not winter wonderland completely by early November. It's going to be.
It might be.
It could be, but
you never know.
The winters tend to get to the late part of November normally with what I will say this, to me, it's not going to matter if it's winter wonderland or not. If Aaron Rodgers is there, I do have this as our first loss of the year.
And if Aaron Rodgers isn't, if he's not,
we win the game.
Definitely we win by a couple of snow angels.
I don't see how if Packers don't have Rodgers, it's a lot like us without Wilson. It's not that they don't have talent on the team. It's that you don't have another option at backup quarterback. Jordan Love's not ready by all accounts, as far as what's been shown on the practice field. We'd be fine.
What, you don't trust Blake Bortles?
He puts the fear of God in me at times, but most of the time I'm pretty confident. just depends on the day you catch me. If I got a Bortles bad day, then.
Well, he did beat us 4 years ago.
That is true. That is true. The specter is still there.
Yeah. even a broken clock is right twice a day.
Former top 5 pick. He's played in AFC conference championship games. He's now become that old gunslinger type.
Which by the way, if Aaron Rodgers doesn't show up for the Packers, I only see them winning 2 or 3 games.
Same. They built it. It's all built around him. And then right now, honestly, I think it's 50-50 whether or not he comes back.
I think it's
What do you think?
I think it's 70-30.
That he does or doesn't?
Does not.
Ooh. Ooh. I just, it seems like it was going this thing where there was all this momentum where it was like, oh, he's going. Oh, it's gone. It's gone. And then suddenly, like a couple of weeks ago, you start to feel these like general shifts almost, like we did with the Russell thing, where it was like, okay, well, maybe the door's a little open to him coming back. But I could 70-30, you could talk me into that. I could easily see it being that he's at a point where he's like, I'll just do Jeopardy. He's got the Jeopardy leverage now. He's found Jeopardy leverage, Jose. Jeopardy, who's ever had as a quarterback, oh, you ain't going to do what I want? Well, I'm going to do my Jeopardy leverage then. Take that.
Well, Jim Brown retired because they wouldn't let him do movies.
Mm-hmm. That's true. So, that's true. It is like that. It is a little bit like that. But I think with Jim, it was just a matter of letting him do. This is a matter of like, you trade me or I retire, which is where the unusual. And I've got this whole gig setup thing. I've never seen a quarterback with this kind of leverage situation like this in this way where they could do it. Like we saw with Russell. Russell really didn't have any leverage in this offseason, really, at the end of the day, because he's never going to be willing to hold out in the situation. So,
now, let me ask you this about Russell Wilson. Because I had this argument yesterday with the teams he put, or his agent put, which was really him, but I'm not going to go into that. If he had set the Giants as one of those teams, I would have made the trade. What about you?
Oh, as being a possible destination location?
Yeah.
For Russell, being a spot where he could go.
Yeah.
I still think that they remain that type of space. I mean, let's face it, this is, what I've said with this is that this thing is not completely closed up yet. I want it to be closed up. I want Russell here forever. I don't want it to be, but a lot's going to be based on what happens, I think, this year and the way that this year plays out. And I think if this year plays out in a way that's not good, the door will be open. And if I was to pick one team above any else at that time, the timing of, it would be the Giants. Why the timing didn't work for this offseason, you didn't see Russell put the Giants on as a given team, is because they're still somewhat married to the Daniel Jones experience. This is the make or break year though for Daniel Jones. He's a top 10 pick. You're not just going to move off those guys willy-nilly, even if you've got a guy like Wilson necessarily staying in the wings, especially if he's shown flashes. And I know that Daniel Jones is beaten up a little bit, but he's made as many big time throws last year as any quarterback in the sport, as any big time throws by the advanced stats. I mean, the stuff where it's like he's in the pocket and it should be the chances of it being completion is really minimal, and he pulls it off. I don't think he's going to take that step forward. I think Daniel Jones is eventually going to be what he is. But then that opens the door next year to Russell Wilson if he has that off year now into his third year, and then Giants go, okay, we'll go Russell, and then we'll move off Daniel in the other direction. I hope it doesn't go that way, but they still remain to me the team that would be most likely for being the big New York market, being that they'll need a quarterback point at that point, being they'll be a team on the upswing, right, where they've started to add talent over the last couple of years, and they can be attractive to Russell from that standpoint.
Now, I know this isn't what we planted the video on, but now that I have you here, hypothetically, what would you ask the Giants for to get Russell Wilson?
Some of it's going to be based on this year. Sorry, go ahead.
Because I'm not asking for Daniel Jones. I'm asking for draft picks and Saquon Barkley.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind Saquon either. I echo your sentiments. I would not want Daniel Jones. I do not think Seattle would want Daniel Jones as part of that package. I've long thought that if Seattle's going to move off of Russ, eventually go to a different quarterback than Russell, they'll do it with the thought process of recreating what they did in 2012 and 13, building up a big team around a rookie quarterback or a young quarterback who's on that cheap rookie deal. That's what they're going to want to gravitate towards. So I agree with you. It's really all about draft picks for me at that point in time. I don't believe that New York has any extra type picks into the next couple of years like some of these other teams like Miami still does. So they don't necessarily have as much great front end capital. But let's walk this through, because I think the value is determined by Russell Wilson's next year. If he goes through next year and he plays like he did at the back end of the last 8 games, right? Sub 4,000 yards, 30 touchdowns and 16 interceptions, right? I'm not saying he's going to play that way, but if that's a possibility on one end of the scale versus MVP-like level, but the Seattle tops out as a team, doesn't get past the playoff first round like they haven't before, right? Those would be your two spots. Well, if it's this one, it's going to depress it down just a little bit. Not all the way. You're still getting multiple first-round picks in a couple seconds, but this one gets you the full meal deal. This gets you the entree, the dessert, all of it. And what I mean by that is it gets you 3 first-round picks to start. You're probably getting an additional 2 to 3 second-round picks and then 1 or 2 third-round picks then in addition. I know he's a year older at that point, but that's not really going to matter to me because I always come back to this at the end of the day. We've not yet seen ever a quarterback in his prime on a Hall of Fame trajectory in his prime traded. We still have never seen that. Jared Goff's not a Hall of Fame prime. You can maybe say Matt Stafford's going to, through his stat padfering, get his way to getting to the Hall of Fame, but it's not by being a great player in my estimation. This is the first one. And if damn Stafford can get, excuse my language, 2 first-round picks plus, and you're kicking in a Goff on the other side of it, why wouldn't Russell be worth that much more? Much better player, more mobility, not as many injury concerns, younger guy. I ride all the day with it's 3 firsts, to me, 2 to 3 seconds, and then 1 to 2 threes. And then you can, if it's got to be a player, you could maybe move off a third for a player if that's how they want to kind of move stuff around to make it work for all the teams in point. But it should be a haul like we've never seen, and that Chicago Bear offer was laughable.
Yeah. That was a complete joke.
That was not a real offer, in my opinion. That's not a real offer. And this has to be one of those offers, frankly, where it's not negotiations. They've got to come in and blow you away with an offer because you get to the negotiation side and then word of that leaks out. And then the player's value goes right down into the toilet instantaneously. So you got to come in. That's why Seattle said we never got to open negotiation with the Russell Wilson thing. They didn't technically. What they had to have Chicago do is come in and blow them out of the water with an offer because they were never going to negotiate. Give us something good. And if you give us something good, we're here. And they didn't. Instead, they gave us crap. I mean, wasn't crap, but just that wasn't a real offer. That's like you going in for a car that's $20,000 and somebody it's listed for 20 G's and you come in and they say, hey, we'll pay you 12 for it. No, I'll give you like a G or 2 off, but I ain't giving you $8,000 discount. Pay market prices.
Right. Now,
go ahead. Sorry.
Now let's take a step back. How do you feel about where our bye week is?
Let's see. So we've got week. I think it's about appropriate. It's kind of perfect, frankly. Week 9 and being a bye week is exactly where you would want it to be. Mid-season through. You don't want the late in the year buys because we've seen that before. Your team on the run starting week 11, 12, 13, and then here comes week 14 bye. Guys get off and then you lose your momentum. You want that momentum cooking. Yeah. We saw it last year. Exactly. So getting now into that back half of those games and you look at it, the Packer one's tough and the Washington one's tough. They get easier as you go through that back end of that schedule. So what's nice about that, Jose, is that you have the early bye, right? Let's say we get to week 17 or 18 and let's say Rodgers gets traded and Brady isn't the same with Tampa Bay. And we have this nice clear path by week 17 or 18 to the first round bye in the playoffs. I'm thinking, right? Yeah.
We can rest our starters.
Rest the starters. So what you end up having is another de facto bye before the bye of the playoff as well. So you get this nice, perfectly allocated rest throughout the season. If it all works out in the way you hope it does, if it all holds to type, I love it. How about you?
You're getting excited.
This schedule's awesome. You get Bears, Lions, and Cardinals to end the season. Yes. Bears, Lions, and Cardinals. They're, to me, Lions kneecap eaters. I got to worry about kneecap eaters week 17.
Well, to be fair, they did have one of the best drafts in the NFL this year.
They did. They also lost Stafford. They also lost Galladay. They had a lot they have to rebuild.
They have a lot of rookies.
It's down to the studs right now for that team, in my opinion. And it's paring it all down and trying to rework it from the top from a mentality standpoint. That's why I referenced that whole kneecap thing.
Their coach is an idiot.
Yep. I heard one analyst say this recently. There's two kinds of coaches. There's the Cro-Magnon caveman type that tells you to go eat somebody's kneecaps, and then there's the smart, brilliant tactician. And you pretty much have one of those two camps that you basically find as a coach, and he is in that the former, being the kind of the caveman type.
So it's like Rex Ryan and Pete Carroll.
Bingo. And the caveman type will always be overthought. His emotion and his gutso and his ability to motivate is great, but it will always be overcome by the guy that is thinking in a chess. He's thinking in checkers, whereas the other coach is thinking like chess. And that's where they will always win against those type of simple-minded guys that approach the game that way. It's a different NFL. It ain't 1980s anymore. It ain't 1970s or 60s. It's a different NFL. You've got to be more of a thinker as a head coach than you used to, I think, be. There's a lot more rah before.
I agree. With that being said, though, I don't like all of the analytic in the game right now. I like coaches that go with their gut, and I think I said this in your chat before. So yeah.
And you're not alone. I think here's the thing that's tough with analytics is that unlike baseball and basketball, it's not as easily applied, which provides a lot of people to have skepticism, and it's understandable skepticism to feel that way when you don't. It's a lot more of moving parts and tougher ways to assess things. I think that the place, I land on with it is it should never be used as a barometer or metric unto itself, that you utilize everything you can. So you utilize analytics and gut instincts and everything. It's like you throw it all into the bag. As much information and data as you can bring into bear will give you into the right place or the right decision to the right point. And so, for instance, the draft stuff recently, a lot of what we're learning about with drafts is actually groupthink is really smart. The group string draft boards they put together, where they put just this cobble of all of this mass of people here's what we've got is where this player should be allotted and what he is as a player and what he should be as the next level. They tend to be really smart. The more minds you put into it, the more smarter the data comes out essentially of those things. And so how will that start to affect the NFL as we go forward? I don't have a great answer with it, but I think analytics are going to continue to refine as we go along. They'll get better from what they were 10 years ago, as they're better now than what they were 10 years ago. And it will come along to having a near effect like it has on basketball or baseball, but that it's an evolving thing. It's not a finished product right now. You know what I mean? It's something they're still trying to figure out how to apply the right way, which is why you can't lean on it whole hog. You got to not just reference that, but look at other things and try to bring it all in, which is hard. It's not an exact science, but that's what makes it fun.
All right. You are correct. So with that being said, let's get back to the schedule portion of this.
All right. So we got the Packers. We both got a loss on. So I'm at 8-1. You're at
7-2.
Okay. I think we both have on this one.
And then we have the Cardinals in Seattle. Okay. I have this being a win.
I do as well.
So I have us at 8-2. You have us at 9-1. JJ Watt does not scare me because he's old and he will probably be hurt by that time of the season.
Exactly. I think that there's a great chance that he's hurt by that point. So, or that he's not, maybe he's just diminished and fight through some injuries because he's got the age and he's got some stuff that's mounted. But you're playing at home. It's going to be a tougher game on the road. I think it's going to be, the Cardinals do play us tough. It seems like on one of the games every year. They're a little bit like the Rams in that respect, but at home, coming off the Packers, especially with me, I'm having that being our first loss of the year against the Packers. So we bounce back. We're rejuvenated, reignited with our fire. We go get that W with them. And I don't think the Cardinals have done enough this offseason. Frankly, they've needed to do a lot right. And they kind of drafted a linebacker with the first pick, Rondell Moore, 5'7". How's that going to work with 5'6" Kyler Murray? Can those guys see each other? And Rondell had some questions. I gave Eskridge a hard time, but I'll tell you, as far as knowing certain production, Eskridge is much better how far they're at than Rondell.
Let's not go back there. I'll put I'll put that video link in the description.
Sounds good. Sounds
Yeah.
good. So we got we're 9-1. Let's get to week 12 now. We're at Washington.
I have us being 9-2 at that point.
Right. And I'm at 9.
Because
Yes.
because I am not afraid of Fitzmagic and their Redskins / football team / Rivera / whatever you want to call them.
Right. No, well, they do put a little bit of fear to me here. So I think I'm actually going to arrive. Gosh, dang it, Jose. I'm not sure on this one. Buddy. I'm going with a loss here.
Really?
I'm going with a loss.
You are giving us a loss again.
Fitzmagic. He's unpredictable. He's cagey. And it's more about the defense.
We played him last season.
I know, but we played against the Dolphins. Dolphins are a different team than the Washington team to me.
You're right. They're better.
You think the Dolphins are better than Washington is?
In the secondary, yes.
Well, in the secondary, maybe. But I mean, Washington's got the front seven from hell, man.
And on offense, yes.
I don't know if offensively. I'm not as sold out right now. Dolphins are as better offensively.
Oh, I'm not sold on Tua by any means.
They're both close to each other team wise.
I don't like Tua as a quarterback, but
no, I don't either.
I like the weapons around him more than I like.
Is this a prime time game?
Yes, it's Monday Night Football.
Well, maybe you can convince me on it being a Monday primetime game weekend because it's not at 10 a.m. So that's good.
Monday Night Football, and then after that we have to hurry up and focus because we have a primetime game against a division rival.
Okay, well, you convinced me on this one. I'm keeping us to one loss against Washington. So I got us 11-1 coming into the Rams game.
And I got us. No,
am I off 10-1? Am I 10-1?
It's the Niners after the Redskins.
Niners after the Redskins.
Yes. And I have that being another one. Because who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows who the quarterback's going to be at that point?
Yeah.
It could be Trey Lance. It could be Jimmy G. It could be Nick Mullins. If he's still a Niner.
And
he is.
For my opinion, it doesn't matter who the quarterback is for them next year. Whoever's playing, considering I don't think Lance will be ready to be what he'll be as his top end eventually. I got those as both. They're going to both be wins for us, in my opinion.
It doesn't matter who your QB is.
It doesn't matter who your quarterback is. Doesn't matter. Put anybody out there. Get Joe Montana back out of retirement. We don't care. We'll slaughter them all. But I'm not buying their roster. I'm not buying them as being this return juggernaut somehow because, they're going to get healthier. No, I'm not going to do it. They were the most injured team last year. Well, guess what? We were the 5th most injured team and we played way better than you did. So I'm not stressing. Nah, that's a win.
Did you not like my rocket impression?
I did like it. Yeah, it was subtle. It took me a second to get it, but yes, yeah, it is good.
It doesn't matter who you're. Yeah.
It doesn't matter who you're playing.
Yes. So yes, I have that. I have that being a win for us. You can have it being a loss. And we are back at us. What? 10-2.
So you're 10-2 at that point. I'm 11-1 right now as we go into week 14.
No, you said 10-2.
I went back on the Washington. You convinced me on the Washington one.
So now we're about at 12-1 after the Niners.
Well, you got 2 losses because you got the Titans and the Packers.
11-2. 11-2.
Yeah. Well, you're 10-2 and I've got 11-1. Is that right?
Actually, I never said we would lose the Niner game even with the Rockets. I have that being a win.
Oh, okay. So we're both at
So-
one loss.
Yeah, we're both at one loss.
So we've got after the Niners, we're playing the
Houston.
That's that's
The-
easy, right?
The Houston SVU. And yes, I can say that because it's my channel.
Who's going to be the first one that puts the Houston logo up with the SVU like slam symbol? It'll make some super special effect where it goes it's SVU. Yeah, they're this is a win.
I know a Jets podcast that's already done it, so it would just be stealing from them
It's true.
at that point, which explains the Jets tenant behind me. They sent it to me and made me an honorary Jets fan. So shout out to those guys at Let's Talk Jets Radio. So shout out to them.
Oh, nice.
I shout them out in every video. They are like the not TV of sports podcasts. So yeah, you should check it out. It's interesting.
I will.
Very,
sure.
very interesting. Just the chat will have you dying of laughter. Let me just warn you of that now.
Okay.
The chat is absolutely crazy, including yours truly.
Well, you know those New Yorkers, they march to their own beat. Man, you know, they got a little bit of that edge to them always. Those East Coasters.
Well, they are from Jersey, and I think they would be upset if I didn't state that fact that they are from Jersey, not New York.
Yeah, that's true. They got like a thing, don't they?
Yeah.
They don't want to be called one or the other.
Do. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. But I love them anyway, and that's how I got to know my friend that's a Saints fan. I don't know if you saw it, but a couple weeks ago I interviewed a Browns fan on my channel, and that's how I got to know him. So they bring in everyone from around the NFL, and just we enjoy them complaining about the Jets, and they let us complain about our team as well. So yeah.
Well, you got to give those poor Jets too. They've been struggling for so long to wait for some good football, man. They've had to watch some bad. They're like the Bears fans, where it's just like, boy, it's been brutal for a while for them.
They actually sent me a nice Jamal Adams poster. Let's see if I can let you see that. If you give me a second, allow me a second. Echo, comma. Give me a second, Brandon.
Yeah, you're good.
Right?
Yes.
Last time you chose Mom's phone. Should I call there again?
Yes.
Calling Mom's home.
Sorry about that, but the Jamal. Echo. Cancel.
Yes.
No, I just want to show him the Jamal Adams poster that those
Hi, Mom.
guys. He said
Hi.
He said
Hi.
Hi.
She said hello.
Hello.
She can't hear you because I have that. Yeah. They sent me this.
Hold on.
Ooh, look at that.
Yeah, they sent me that last week.
Oh, that's nice. That's
Oh,
tight.
yeah. They sent me a lot of other things as well, including the Senate behind me. So that's why I say go Jets to end my videos. Why I didn't saying go Jets to end.
Are you sure you want to
And
go to
my
that
videos.
game? The Saints, or are you going to change your mind?
No, I'm sorry.
That's
If I
awesome.
buy the tickets, then you're.
Yeah, I know. Hold on.
Oh, sorry. I'll talk to you later.
Yeah,
Sorry.
we're trying to figure out what game we should go to.
Is this a
Saints-
Seahawks fan?
Saints would be a good one.
What does he think we should go to?
What game would you go to?
If I
You
was
or
going
me?
to a game this year, I would go to. Well, I'll tell you, I'd go to a little bit of an earlier game because
Hold on.
it's so cold
Hold
there.
on.
It gets so chilly by later
Oh.
on.
Oh, I've been there in December before.
I know. I always get so cold in that stadium, though, man.
Let me unplug my headphone so she can hear you. So
Yeah.
go ahead and give her your opinion.
So he gets to choose one game a season,
Yes. And I'm trying to
and he's trying to decide
between the Rams.
not the Rams.
Not
No.
the Rams for
Not
sure.
the Rams. Not the Rams, because his stepdad has season tickets to see the Rams all year,
I know,
Okay.
all season. But
but then he won around again.
no, he's not even worried about that.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
all right.
No, he's got season tickets. So
I was just trying to be nice.
No.
Okay.
So I'm looking through because I don't like the game. The games later on are against guys that teams that aren't really good. So you've chosen a pretty good team with the Saints, being that the home games are all against kind of weaker teams. Like wouldn't be as fun matchups to watch. So to me, if the Rams are out, then I would probably take the Saints or Jaguars because Jaguars give you a chance to watch that young quarterback and see if he's legit. But the Saints are at least going to
Yeah,
be.
but I don't
good
care.
game.
I don't
Well,
care about that.
The Saints will at least give us, I think, a good matchup. I know I was predicting a bit of a blowout, but they're always really tough to play. They're going to be well coached. It'd be a good game, It'd be a good game. The other games like the Bears, the Lions, those don't
They
get me.
suck.
Texans doesn't get me very
They
excited.
suck.
Yeah, like none of the other stuff gets me really like juiced. So if it's not that, I'm going. Yeah, I think I'm going Saints or the Rams would be my first pick, but if not the Rams, then Saints, Jaguars, or Cardinals would be the picks.
I don't know. The Rams, like his stepdad said, why would I go travel to see?
What, he's afraid they're going to get beat?
Maybe.
Oh,
And you'll
good.
get angry.
Oh, good.
It'll be a long trip there and a long trip back.
It's a long ride home.
It's a long ride home.
And a long ride back.
I just wish there were some better games. I wish there were some better home games this year, but they're just all the best games are on the road.
Which is there with better
Oh,
home games.
yeah.
It's like
Other
if
good games are on the road.
Oh,
Unless you
okay.
want to play Wisconsin.
Oh, yeah. To see the Packers?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I don't
I
know.
would kill it. So.
You're not gonna throw it.
Why? I want to go to Wisconsin.
And then you go to.
I want to see. I like to see the stadium.
Yeah.
You want
but
to
I
wear a
like to
cheese
go-
head?
I like to go to Seattle.
No, we're gonna go to Seattle, but I'm letting him pick one game.
Okay, I said the same.
One game.
I said the same.
But before I go and
I said the same.
okay.
I was saying the Rams because
No.
you know why I was saying that.
Yeah, but
Can you edit this out,
sorry.
Brandon?
Sorry,
What'd you say?
Brandon.
Can you
Oh, bye.
edit this argument?
Edit this argument out.
I can do it. I can do wherever you want edit wise for sure.
I'm just giving him a choice.
We're
Before
just
I start plugging things in.
I said
We
the
have to be
same.
on the same page because
I said the same.
there's a lot
I
involved.
said the
Okay.
same.
It's-
Wait, who's the Rams play that weekend? Where? Double check.
Yeah, so his stepdad has tickets, season tickets
To the Rams.
to the Rams at SoFi Stadium, and he says, ask Jose what games he wants to go to.
And I said the Rams or Saints.
No, at SoFi Stadium. He's giving you the choice.
The Seahawks and the Cardinals.
That's it.
That's it.
That's it.
I don't know the rest of their schedule.
Okay.
Do they play the Bucks?
I don't know.
I need to see the
Do,
schedule.
do the Rams play the Bucks? Is that what you asked?
Yeah, that's what I asked.
Let me see. Hold on. Let me see what we got.
Take you off and put your
Put
headphones.
'em on.
Put the headphones on back.
Yeah.
Sorry, Brandon. I came and
Oh, you're
interrupted.
good.
I just,
No, you're
I'm
all
just
good.
trying to, gotta do things in advance here.
Yeah, Jose, they play them on the 26th of September. The Buccaneers.
week.
The Rams play the Buccaneers.
That's week. What week?
So they play on the 26th. The Rams play the Buccaneers on September 26th.
And that's when we play. Who?
Well, no, you were asking about the Rams against the Buccaneers.
And we play the Vikings that week, right?
Yeah, I think that's the week we play the Vikings. That's right.
Yeah, I'd rather see the Bucks than the Rams and the Vikings and the Seahawks, to be honest.
I understand. It's going to be a dirty game. It's going to be a lot of running the football in that Vikings game. I guarantee you. They're on both sides of the ball. There's going to be a lot of running the ball.
And a lot of timeouts. And I was saying this to my brother-in-law last night. I don't know how Mike Zimmer still has a job as the Vikings coach.
I think he's definitely, the seat's getting warm. It's heating up underneath him. I would be surprised if you're looking at a guy who doesn't have this, especially this year where he's got probably the most talented roster, at least offensively, that he's had since he's been there. And being that he's a defensive-minded guy whose defense has started to backtrack in recent years. But if he doesn't get it this year, if they fall off with the talent they have, and especially, I mean, God forbid, if there's no Rodgers in that division, it's their division to take at that point, right? I mean, no, Detroit, Chicago, that's their division. So if he doesn't get it done this year, I think he's probably going to be on his way out the door at that point. But you're right, he definitely has had a lot of rope that they've given that guy to operate with. You know, it's been a couple years since that conference championship and the Miracle and Minneapolis Miracle and all that. That wasn't just a year ago anymore, you know.
Well, you can always blame the quarterback.
That's true. Cousins does make a good punching bag.
I know I would.
I would too. If you got Cousins as a built-in excuse, man, no matter what happens, you go, well, you know, we got Kirk. So, I mean, and you don't have to say anything else. You just be like, Coach, we noticed on that fourth down call, there was, well, you know, I mean, we got Kirk Cousins. So I don't, you know, it's just, he's not good. So.
Well, when he was with the Redskins, I think it was 2016.
Mm-hmm.
They needed to win their last game of the season against the Eagles. They were down 17-0, driving before halftime. They were set up to go for a field goal. It was third down. All he had to do was spike the ball. And instead, he took a knee instead of spiking it. And everyone looked around like, what did you just do? Now it's fourth down and we have to run a play. And yeah, they didn't get any points out of it. And Jay Gruden got fired.
It's pretty much that captures Kirk Cousins, I think, in pretty much totality. As far as look, he's a guy who's very productive, good quarterback in this league. He's not bad. I've called him the new Matt Hasselbeck. It's not a shot at Matt. It's fine. You're a fine quarterback, but he has this thing within him where he gets when the heat turns up, when it gets hot. He's not a guy that I want to be in that foxhole with, and that's. Not to draw a knock on. He's a fine quarterback, but that's just an element that he does not have to his game, which frankly, I think Russell Wilson has in spades. And when you miss that as a quarterback, you're missing something that's kind of necessary to have for the position, or you're really never going to be able to quite top out at the level of the really, really great players of the position, which is what we're seeing, I think, in Kirk, because he's kind of just is what he is.
I agree.
All right. So we've got a couple more games here on our schedule. Where are you at right now? I got us at, are we week 16 or week 15 here?
15, I think.
Yeah, we're week 15. And is that Niners?
Yes.
And I think on this one, we're playing at home.
Yeah.
So I think we're both going to probably be on board with this one again. You're at home again. Same.
Wait,
team
I
that we're-
think we just did this one before my mom came in, so
I wasn't sure either.
I think we're repeating ourselves.
All right, so we'll do week 16 then.
Yeah.
Chicago Bears, right? At
Yeah,
home.
and that's an easy win
Easy win.
against a rookie quarterback.
Rookie quarterback or Nick Foles.
And,
Dalton. There'll be Dalton or Fields.
And a team that's going to be in tank mode.
Tank mode. They lost another team. You look at this offseason where it's very easy to say, oh, you add a rookie quarterback, starts to shine like some rookies can, they'll be great. But instead, you got to look at it. Akeem Hicks was released. Fuller, their cornerback, was let go in free agency. They've lost a little bit of talent off that team. Offensive line's not that strong. I think that they're a team that's, again, like you said, they'll be tanking by this point. Great point on that matter, by the way, because that means they'll be resting guys or having guys sub-injured that they're like, just shut them down for the year. Let him go. We're good. So I've got that as a win there too.
By the way, am I the only one that think Justin Fields is going to be better than Zach Wilson or Trey Lance?
Well, with me, I never got on the Zach Wilson train of things. I think he's too slight, and people are falling in love with that arm motion. That Aaron Rodgers like motion in the way that he throws the ball, where it just all whips off of his body, nice and pretty. And it really looks good coming out of his hand. And
you should see me throw a ball.
you throw a mean ball.
Yeah.
But no, I'm not as sold on Zach.
It's
so
not accurate.
Hey, that's okay. It's probably got some velocity, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I put Fields in my button ahead of Wilson. I just don't think his body's going to hold up, and I think that it's going to be a different game when he's playing against actual tough competition.
I agree.
With Lance, it's tough with me because I had Trevor Lawrence and then I had Trey Lance as my number 2 guy, but that was just because I loved his tape as much, and because I also was looking at it through the lens of Trey Lance on the Seattle Seahawks in Coach Carroll's team, running the old offense of 20 attempts a game and then run around with your legs a lot and all that. So it's a little different when you're talking about going to the Niners, where it's more, timing attacks,
decision
making and 5-step drops, get the ball out of your hands, and less freelance. And I think Seattle would have leaned into some of the abilities I think Lance would have to be able to do some more of that freelance Lance, so to speak.
I think we would have used them like the Ravens.
That bingo.
Lamar.
Yes, bingo. Just essentially get the most out of the guy on his rookie quarterback. Let him run wild. Let him be a threat. So I take him out of the element, though. I like Fields better above him. I certainly liked Fields way better above Mac Jones. So if we're really talking about it, he would have been my number 3 quarterback on my board. I think he's earning of being a first-round talent. He should have been picked higher than where he probably was. But I think he's going to be a good quarterback. He has some bust factor to him. And that thing that you heard about him, God, that phrase I hated referenced on him. Last in the building, first out. When you hear that about quarterbacks, which was some of the scuttlebutt about him, that's not good. They got to be hard workers first and foremost above all else. And if he's not, and I can't say that he's not, but if he's not, that's a little bit of a death knell to him at the position at that point.
And I can't say he's not, but I follow someone on Twitter who used to work for the Seahawks. G. Scott, he used to have a gig for the Seahawks where he would drive players around and interview them while giving them rides to wherever they were going. Look it up. It was called
G. Scott?
Yes. It was called Driving with G.
I saw a few of those.
Yeah. So his oldest son is at Ohio State and with teammates with Justin. And he was saying if the 49ers don't draft Justin Fields, they're making a mistake, and whoever it does is getting a bona fide winner.
Mhm.
And I agree with that.
I do too. I think there's a chance this does happen with some quarterbacks at times where they get picked apart a little too much. You
I
start the
mean,
process out and they're supposed to be this, and then suddenly people get in their little like, oh, I don't like this. I don't like this tape against Purdue in the middle of November that jumps out to me. And they let that stick in their brain in the evaluation process, and they just get lost in the trees despite the forest. And I could see this with this Fields and this process and the way it's played out that could end up becoming the easily the case when we look at this in retrospect 10 years from now.
I mean, look at what happened to Russ.
Mhm.
Oh, he's too short. Oh, he can't throw the deep ball. Oh, he's bad in the pocket. Oh, he's this. Oh, he's that. Oh, I don't like him because he's not tall enough. Oh, he needs a great offensive line. Go back to our offensive line when we won the Super Bowl. It wasn't that great.
It wasn't great, but it was as talented as you've ever had. And that's the thing that had been, look at it. You had Russell Okung, a top 10 pick, James Carpenter, a first round pick, Max Unger, a second round pick, who's a Pro Bowl level player. The other guys, you're right. Paul McQuiston was nobody's. Giacomini was a holding penalty waiting. It was a personal foul penalty waiting to happen. Those parts were weak, but what you were able to do is at least through 3/5 year line, have some legitimacy behind that rookie quarterback. And frankly, that's going to be, when it comes to any of these guys we look at, I maintain that it's one of the bigger dictators of success for young quarterbacks is having some semblance of an offensive line in front of them. And when you do look at the Bears right now, as opposed to like the Jets who've been building up their offensive line over the last couple of years, or even the Jaguars who've done similar things, the Bears have not necessarily done the greatest job of setting things up in front of him to be able to succeed where he's going to have a clean pocket to throw from. Because look at Goff, look at Wentz, right? You've heard me speak about this. They come in the league, they've got upper level, top 5, top 10 offensive line units. They soar. Those offensive line units go in the tank. Oh, suddenly they can't play the quarterback position. They're worth nothing. I think it really does dictate a lot more than we think. And the thing with Russell is I sure would like to see him with a good offensive line. I hope they're as good as we think they might be this year, but I would have liked to have gone a little harder and got a little bit better this year to see if, I don't want to be left in retrospect if Russell moves on after this year saying, what if we had just gotten him that really legitimate offensive line all the way through the whole year, where there's 1 year where they don't fall off halfway into the year, or he's constantly running for his life 24/7, but he finally has 1 year of real good top 10 from start to finish level of play. What can he do within that? And I think he can have an MVP type season within that. We just have never seen it with Russell. He's never gotten that opportunity to have that.
Okay, here's where it can have to agree to disagree, because I think he had that last year go back.
Do you think from start to finish he had that last year? Do you think in the
No.
last 8 games? And that's what I'm referencing to is that for the first 8 games last year. Yes.
But go back to the Giants game where you had all day in the pocket. All day in the pocket. And he just falls in love with the home run, and he ends up getting sacked 2 or 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's just waiting for the deep ball to get open. And it never does.
It's true. The sacks in the back half of the year and the way that they played in the 8 year, there was some of that's on his shoulders. It's kind of like it's not an either or situation though, where in that situation it's all on Russ or all on the line, where it's sort of you divvy it out like you would a slice of pie. And I think Russ does get some on his shoulders, but I do think that the offensive line gets some on its shoulders too in that back half of the schedule, mainly because of injury as much as anything else. You had Mike Iupati gets injured, Posey gets injured, Shell on the right side gets injured at that time. And I know that Dwayne Brown was fighting through stuff through most of the year. I mean, he had a high ankle sprain from the jump in the first game when Mike Iupati landed on him.
And his knee is still bad.
And his knee is still bad. He's 35 years old. You just accumulate stuff. So it's where I stand with it is I'd like to see for a full year. I think if that line still played at the same level, Russ still would have taken some sacks. but do they fall off to the same level that they fell off offensively, speaking through that back half of that 8 games, if the line still is healthy like it was through that first 8 games? Sorry, go ahead.
Do they fall off?
I don't think. I don't think they do. I think they hold up relatively well. That's right, like the cans.
Yeah. Let me get some help here.
Yeah. All right, so we got 2 games left. We got the Week 17 game against the Lions.
The Lions and our old buddy Jared Goffs.
The Goofers. The guy. Does the sun rise in the south, or does the sun set in the north? Did you ever see that on Hard Knocks? He had a whole half episode where he couldn't figure it out. Where he's like, "Is it which is it to the west that it rises?"
I was in that episode.
Oh, were you?
Yeah.
Did you get to laugh at him when he said that?
No, I was like in the. There's a part where the guy that believes in mermaids.
Oh yeah.
Is talking. I'm behind him.
That's right, the mermaid guy.
Yeah. I think that was Michael Brockers.
Yeah. That was a weird season of Hard Knocks. They had some interesting personalities on that.
Well, at least there wasn't Michael Scott.
It's true.
But let me not go there.
So we got, I think we both got this as a dub, right? Yeah. Detroit at home, coming off the Bears, end of the season, feeling good there. I mean, what's to really break down on something like that? They're rebuilding. They've done well. They had a great draft. Penny Sewell's good. I think they did good in the second round too. They did all the way around good in this draft, but I think they're a couple years away from being anything. Nothing for the fact they still need to get their quarterback.
So the last game is at the House of Horse for Seattle in Arizona. And God, I will have my fingers crossed for this game.
Yeah, I'm going to take this as a loss, but I'm going to take this as a loss for some interesting reasons, Jose. We are we have lapped the field by so much. We've gone around and around that track by so much.
We will be what?
It's called practice week 18 is what we actually call it. The rest of the NFL is going to call it real week 18. We call it practice squad week 18. That's what we're going to call it. Why? All our guys coming off the bench.
We'll be what? 15-2?
15-2 because we're going to take the L because we already got the bye week wrapped up coming in this week.
And this whole off season, you've been worried.
I have. This has me 2 games higher than what me this off season I've had us at 13-4. Obviously, you have to kind of do this practice where you play out the schedule, but
you've been pessimistic this whole time.
I have been. I've been very pessimistic, but I think we've also the thing I'll say about this is we're going to benefit from a weaker schedule. That's the one thing with this is not a first place schedule, really, in my opinion, of what you'd normally run into. There'd be a lot more tougher games. Is that the teams that were good last year that you're playing this year because they were good last year, like the Saints, just isn't the same level of competition, is what it was prior.
Hey, it is what it is.
We can't control it. If it's nice, it's nice. If it's an easy schedule, it's an easy schedule. But
we just play who we're told to play.
That's it.
Who we're told to play.
I am still worried. The one thing, with me, I've talked about the one thing that does worry me coming in this year is that offensive line depth and running into the same thing we ran into last year a bit. That's my one worry. But if you stay healthy, it's not a problem. But that's the big but if,
I just have one worry on the offensive line and that center because I don't trust Ethan Posick.
Mm-hmm. On 2 levels, right? 2 levels, injury and performance.
Yes.
Because he's been 4 years, he's been injured every year of his career in 4 seasons.
If somehow the Seahawks could bring back Justin Britt after week 9,
Houston signed him.
I know, but it's not like they're.
It's true.
It's not like they're not gonna be in
Maybe you could trade
mode.
for him. Yeah, maybe you could get a like 6th rounder or something if you had
A
to.
6th-round pick.
Yeah. That's not a bad plan. That's not a bad backup plan. It's better than Kyle Fuller if it's possible.
Or even honestly, I don't see Kyle Fuller making the team. I see the kid from Canada making the team.
It's just hard because I've not got any film to go off with the kid with Canada. You know?
Yeah, but you don't have any tape on Kyle Fuller playing center.
No, I don't. I don't necessarily, but I would say this: if it's Fuller or the kid from out of country, either one doesn't make me inspire a lot of confidence with the position. If those guys are having to start a multitude of games,
No,
I'm worried either way on that. Like I'd rather have a Kelsey from the Eagles or whatever they can find. I'd feel I'm with you. If you could go get just right now a good center to compete with Posick, I'd feel way better about the situation. Because now the guards are better, the center's better, everything's okay at that point, backup wise. But man, that center thing sits there and looks like a glaring, like a bruised eye, around the whole rest of the face. It's just sort of sitting there.
so let's say tomorrow you wake up and it's the Seahawks traded for Billy Price from the Cincinnati Bengals for a 6th-round pick.
The one thing is I was listening to a podcast just the other day that was speaking about Billy Price, and they weren't speaking very highly of Billy Price. So I admittedly I've not watched a lot of his tape necessarily. But he had a 50 rating with Pro Football Focus last year. And the thing you got to with a guy like Billy Price, because this is the tough thing people will do at times with the centers, is they'll go, well, he only gave up 1 sack and 3 pressures. But the position rarely gives up that much anyway. Everyone in the league gives up like about that amount of sack pressure rate at the center position. It's a harder position to kind of rate because a lot of what you're doing is combo blocking. But I don't think he would be an upgrade over Posick. I think I don't think you would even be able at Posick's level, frankly, at that level of play. Posick's at least probably a 15-point higher player as far as his overall output than what this guy gives you, in my opinion. He's a better probably pass blocker than Posick. But even that's maybe just a smidgen, but again, I haven't watched a lot of his tape. So to me, you've got to go a little harder than that. I think what you're going to have to do potentially is wait for one of these teams that thinks they're in competition at the start of the year and that they're in it and they have a good center, right? And then they get to week 5 and then they're like, okay, we're out of it. We're 1-4 or whatever. Let's see what we can move for some of our assets off this. So like, I think there's a Lindstrom with the Jaguars, who's a center for them, I think, right? So the Jaguars start to lose and they go, well, Lindstrom's not going to be our long-term. We like him, but he's not the long-term solution. Maybe then you go put a 3rd-round pick for a Lindstrom guy who really does upgrade the position at that point versus a guy that kind of gets you just marginally to right where Posick is, where it's like, we want a guy up here, not a guy that's like, here's Posick and then here's whoever we're adding,
Wow. I'm watching NFL Network. They just showed the Seahawks tweet of Russell Wilson looking at the schedule.
Oh, nice.
Saying, let's go.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure he's looking at it saying, hey, I can work with this. Yeah.
I can feast on this.
Yeah. He looks at it and he goes, okay, I got really 2 real tough road games at the end of the day, really, in Washington and the Packers. I got my division. Yeah, I got my division. That is what it is on the road. But then I look at my home schedule and I'm like, tasty. Tasty. I can eat that. I'll eat all day against them. Oh, Jaguars? Yeah, okay. Saints, Taysom Hill. Yeah, yum, 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 yum. He's a finger licking good kind of schedule. I mean, this is as easy, in my opinion, it's as easy as it gets from a schedule, especially when you're factoring in the extra game this season. This is as easy as take our division out of it, just out of your schedules, year. This is kind of as easy as it gets, especially if, God forbid, let's face it, Jose, the specter of the specter of Aaron Rodriguez, Aaron Rodgers. I just turned Aaron Rodgers into your uncle. Aaron Rodgers potentially moving on to the AFC, and if that opens up, if that opens up,
For
what
so
that
many,
then does.
I like that joke for so many reasons that I can't get into
Nice.
on YouTube.
Not fit for PC audience.
No, but I'm not a PC channel, so.
Nor I. But if that opens up like that, we're on easy street.
Yeah. We are at a road back to LA for the Super Bowl.
That's it.
From my lips to God's ears.
I let's make it so. Let's make it so, man. We'll be able to reference back to this video and say Jose called it. He called it right here
We can
and now.
say
May 12th, 2021.
But who do we play in the conference championship? Is the question.
It's got to be Tampa Bay.
Do we have to go to the 43-year-old man?
Here's what's going to happen. Yes, that's the case, but he's going to have to come to our home. He's going to have to come where we play. He ain't going to have some neutral site, some dome place that can take care of his poor little 45-year-old arm and give him temperature-controlled conditions with no wind. No. He's going to have to come out to Seattle in the middle of winter with the rain blowing and the wind swirling and the flag doing this. Like they look at the flag, folks. Jeez, we don't even know where the wind's going. And he's going to throw into that wind and the ball's going to go. And Russell's going to use his big arm and he's going to throw right through that wind to the big catch radius of Tamarian Terry and DK Metcalfs. We're going to smoke show him.
Do you know how many games he has won against Russell Wilson and Pete Carroll? Off the top of it? No.
Yes, right. One.
Yeah.
One. He's got one.
It should be zero.
Should be zero.
It should be.
It's one. If we had a healthy
That's
Legion
so.
of Boom, it would be zero.
If we didn't have Daryl Bevel, it would be zero.
If we just run, it'd be zero. But
I still blame Bevel.
yeah, I mean that's a tough one for me. The one thing I do with that play is it's a tough play, but I look at it. Look, to me, at the end of the day, really what drove that was our Legion of Boom being beat up. You lost your whole secondary in that game, basically throughout the game. They're already coming in injured. They were beat to hell. They give up a 10-point lead in the fourth quarter. I mean, the last play is what it is with it, but to me, that was really what dictated that game was that you just got too injured. There's a point that comes with your team. This is why the offensive line concern gets me, because I see at times where there's units on your team that get to a point where they're so beat up and battered that you can't field even an NFL squad for that unit. And it's like a boat that's leaking. They take all the rest of the compartments fill with water and take you down by this one compartment having this opening. And that's what happened with the Legion of Boom there. Remember you had Sherman had a torn ligament in his arm, separated shoulder by Earl Thomas, torn MCL and Cam Chancellor, who suffered at the practice on the day before the game. You had Jeremy Lane tear his ACL, break his arm on an interception return mid-game. I mean, everybody was just beaten to hell in that secondary.
Speaking of how much I hate Bevel, I'm gonna tell you a quick story, then let you go.
No,
because I've had you for 2.5 hours already. So
no worries. You know me. I love talking Seahawks.
yes, I know you do. You could talk for 2.5 more if I let you, but I can't talk for 5 hours.
I understand.
But do you remember our first game after that Super Bowl? Well,
vaguely, I was in a traumatized state, but vaguely.
It was against the Rams in St. Louis. It came down to a 4th and 11. at Bethel called a run with the Marshall Lynch. And after the game, Marshall Lynch's mother went on a tear and she tore into their bevel.
Oh.
Does any of this
Yes,
sound familiar?
it does. It does.
So-
vaguely, yeah.
So that same season, I went to a game against the Steelers, and I met Marshall Lynch's mother at the walkthrough, and I said, I hate Devil too, and she said, I love you, and she introduced me to Richard Sherman's mom, who I had met Richard Sherman a handful of times during walkthroughs because he's just such a nice guy, and he would stop for me because his mom worked with kids like me, kids with disabilities. So he would stop for me every time he saw me just to check in on me, check how I was doing. So Marshall Lynch's mom asked me, have you met Mama Sherman? I said, no. She said, well, come outside with me. You're going to meet her now. And so she introduced us, and we've been friends since.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Did she
shout
have a
out-
big smile when you said, I hate Bevel too? Or did she go
Yes.
ear to ear with a grin?
Yes. She smiled, she looked around, and she gave me a hug.
Oh, that's awesome. We had a chance with Richard Sherman's mom. We actually sat with her San Diego game on the road many years ago. Remember that Rivers game?
I was at that game.
Oh, were you? Yeah, we were there too. We were down in we didn't mean to sit next to her. We were just sitting down there, and she noticed one of our friends had he had a Seahawks receiver shirt, and it was the old receivers walking across. You ever see the Beatles cover album where they're walking across the street on, it's an iconic album cover, and we had Seahawks.
Yeah.
So was Doug Baldwin and and it said pedestrian beneath them. And so she saw the shirt and she's like, I love that shirt. And then we were sitting next to her, and then we spent the whole game. Remember how hot it was in the stadium?
Yes.
I mean, it was like devil's anus hot.
It was
horrible. It was
110.
And they made us wear our dark unis, so everybody on our guys got all tired and hot on the field.
It was 110. It was 110 degrees.
Oh, it was awful. It was that, and it wasn't like 110. Oh, it's a desert heat. No, it was concrete heat, because the concrete took that heat and like amplified it. You know?
And Rivers dinked and dunked his whole game too. And
That's the game I learned with Coach Carroll's defense. Look, Coach Carroll's defense can be beat. It's built on one reliance. There's one key factor to Coach Carroll's defense that's sort of the untalked about thing. And you know what that is? Lack of patience. Because within his defense, he's gonna say, yeah, you'll dink and dunk, but eventually you're gonna get to the point. I can't keep dinking and dunking. I want to hit something down the field. I want to take that deep shot. And that's when he poises his defense to theoretically strike. That's when he wants that game-changing interception that comes into play. And Rivers was the one quarterback, because I'm like, well, you think more quarterback, but I see it week in and week out where these guys just can't stay patient and just kind of take what's there for the defense, just I'll take the 5-yard in route. I'll take the 5-yard in. But you're right. That's what it did. That that's the antithesis of as well. Yep, it is.
Russ does not take the 5-yard route. He'll look for the 15-yard slant pattern, the go route, and if that's not there, then you take the 5-yard
or scramble.
But before that, he's on his back and he's wondering why Sierra isn't with him.
Wonder what Sierra's
Yes.
doing right now. Russ, get
Yes.
back in the game. Russ. Huh?
Yes, this is not Nerf camp. This is not some other Seahawks YouTuber. This is the opposite of that.
That's right. Real
This
talk.
This is not PC. This is not politically correct. This is not for kids. And this is not for children of any age, really. With the jokes I've made tonight.
They're right in that
Yeah.
gray area. It's a gray line. It's it's a wide gray line.
And
Well, I've had a great time here with you, Jose, breaking down his schedule.
thank you for doing this. We should do a stream watch one day. Maybe during a Monday night game.
Yeah, I'm sure we can figure something out along the way here and we'll definitely sync back up on this.
Yeah,
So,
let's give the people what they want.
let's do it. Let's do
So
it.
until next time, you got the Hacksmith and myself. And sorry. Until next time, God bless. God bless. Stay safe. Stay out of trouble. Go just as always and forever. Go Hawks, baby.
Go
We're
Hawks,
out.
baby. Go Hawks.
We're out.
We're out.